Jackie, you've described Tim Burton's Dark Shadows as the TV series on serious steroids. What are your own memories of the soap, and why did you want to be part of bringing it back to, or bring it to the big screen?
Well, I was definitely familiar with it when I was a kid. Wasn't like a huge fan of it. I've got my wife was a big fan. A buddy of mine's a big fan, and it was just a really unique soap opera in the sense that it had all these supernatural characters, but they also had a super unnatural budget. You know what I mean? It was so challenged, and there was aspects to it where it was kind of hilarious, where microphones would kind of dip in, and sometimes half a set would fall over when somebody closed the door, and they'd just keep on rolling. And so to take that concept that so many people love and to bring that into a Tim Burton world, and for it to just be so, what's the word? I mean, just the production design is so incredible, and Tim's take on it, and he brings it to this 2012. He makes it accessible to a 2012 audience, and it's just pretty awesome.
And also, do you think it will be accessible to, especially audiences in the UK that might be unfamiliar with the soap?
Yeah, I think that's what's kind of cool about this film. It's like if you're a fan of the soap, then you're naturally going to want to see what is it. But you really don't have to know anything about the soap, because it starts at the beginning,
And your character, I think, if he was in a 19th century novel, I think he'd be described as the faithful retainer, probably. But he's anything but that, really, isn't he? What does he make of the Collins family?
Willie Loomis is kind of the drunken curmudgeon, servant to the Collins. And, I think there's a side of him where he's been there a while and he kind of feels like he's part of the family, but there's another side to him that he's just kind of going through the motions. He's happy to have a kind of a safe place to drink and to sleep. And, everything kind of gets flipped on its ear when Barnabas shows up.
Yeah, what does he make of Barnabas's arrival, Willie?
Right upon right when Barnabas arrives, he hypnotizes Willie. And so now Willie becomes, basically a spellbound servant to Barnabas, and now he's kind of really got to work.
And he's not the only staff member in the house, is he, Willie? There's also Mrs. Johnson, who we can't forget, played by Ray Shirley. And I was in stitches when she was trying to help Willie carry that heavy coffin. What does he make of his co-worker?
I think he feels that she's basically useless. But I think he's also really kind of glad to have her around, and.
And do you know much about Ray Shirley's background? Because I couldn't see too much about her when I was researching. Is this one of her first film roles?
I'm not sure. I remember she's quite fascinating. She's I think she's in her 90s, and she just would get up and go. Everybody would keep kind of like, can I get you a chair? No, I like standing. I can stand for hours. So, okay.
Well, she definitely got quite a lot of laughs in the screening that I was at.
Yeah, she's great. She's hilarious.
And in recent years, you've definitely scared us and unnerved us on screen. But how much did you sort of relish chance to make us laugh and the comic aspect of Willie?
Totally relished it. It's as an actor, what you want to do is diverse characters. You kind of want to get jobs that have a whole different side.
And I love the fact that Willie hasn't cottoned on to the fact that the town and the house are sort of named after the Collins family. What did you enjoy about that kind of quite vacant aspect of him, and the facial expressions that you do are brilliant?
Well, it was just such a cool character. It's kind of a small role, but at the same time, he's almost more of like just a presence that just kind of seems to pop up here and there. And it was a real kick, and it was a real honor to get to work across from Johnny Depp. That guy's real down to earth. He's real friendly and super talented. Acting is kind of really more about reacting. So when you work with somebody that's got such great chops, you don't really have to act. You just react.
And it's a great cast for that, isn't it? With in terms of, you've got Michelle Pfeiffer as well. What did you enjoy about working with her?
Well, Michelle, I was always kind of a little flummoxed around Michelle, just because I'm such a huge fan, and she's just so gorgeous. So I was just kind of always melting.
Now Willie gets shown around the house, doesn't he, by Barnabas when he comes back, and we get to see all the detail in the set. How impressed were you by those kind of real set? There's no green screen really inside that house, is there?
Well, every set was absolutely amazing. I mean, Rick Heinrich and Tim just did an absolutely beautiful job. But what was kind of fun about that scene is, now that he's hypnotized and he's listening to Barnabas, he's been in this mansion for years. And all of a sudden he's like, oh yeah, gosh, you're right, look at that. You know, so that was kind of fun to play.
And you were a teenager in the 1970s yourself. What did you enjoy about revisiting some of the trappings and clothes of the era in Dark Shadows?
You know, I loved it. I felt several times I was being kind of transported back to my youth. You know, when we did like the Blue Whale scene where you've got, 100 or so background talent and the whole set and the hair and everybody's costumes, it was just 70s perfect. And you get right in the middle of that, it's like, whoa, it's kind of freaky, But I thought the girls looked great, For some reason that era just was awesome.
Because it often gets disowned as the decade that fashion forgot, doesn't it?
I know, but to me, being from that era, it's just, I really kind of held on to that whole bell-bottoms, big collar thing. I was telling some friends about this photograph that I've got. It's a one sheet of a play I did called Slab Boys. So it's a picture of me, Kevin Bacon, Sean Penn, and Val Kilmer. And all three of those guys are wearing straight leg pantses because it's early 80s, right? So they're all wearing straight legs and they kind of got the spiky hair and they're looking very current. And there I am standing next to them. I got like hair down to here. I'm wearing this big old collar and these bell bottoms. So to this day I look at that photo and I'm like, what was I thinking?
Awesome, but you embraced the age anyway, didn't you?
Yeah, evidently.
And you started out as a young actor yourself, didn't you? What did you make of young Gully McGrath as David, who you also appear within Lincoln, don't you? I'm not sure if you got any scenes together. But...
Yeah, we didn't have any scenes together, but I saw him out there. I think we're kind of witnessing the birth of an amazing career. I mean, he's really good. And I've kind of, having been a child actor and stuff, I've kind of made it a point that he can call me, email me, and his parents can, just because it's tough being a child actor, especially especially if things kind of take off, your identity kind of gets connected to that, and there's just a lot of emotional hiccups that could happen as you grow into this. There's just a lot of ups and downs, and I just wanted to be available to him, having gone through all that stuff.
Oh, that's great that you've offered that. And Dark Shadows has been described as Tim Burton at his finest, and I just wondered what are some of the hallmarks that we might kind of look out for when we go and see the movie.
Well, this guy is just, Tim Burton is incredibly unique. To me, he's kind of like owns his own genre, and this was just kind of like the perfect subject matter, the perfect title. I think he pays great homage to the soap, but while still really grounding it and making it accessible to a 2012 audience. And there's just, under his umbrella of genre, the film is, filled with a little bit of melodrama, harks back to the soap, but there's also some very light tones, some very dark tones, and it's really a fun ride.
And Alice Cooper, of course, makes an appearance on set. What did you make of having her around?
Yeah, I thought she did a fabulous job, that Alice Cooper.
She did. She was great, wasn't she? And how about seeing it as we talked about the fashion from the era, but what about the music? There's a great soundtrack, isn't there? What do you make of that?
It's phenomenal. I mean, I think it's like one of the stars of the film. I mean, it sets so many tones. It's Danny Elfman's score, is just off the hooks, and I love the way he kind of hints to the soap without burying it in it, and then all of the cues that they kind of place throughout is just it was wonderful.
Yeah, and quite unexpected, aren't there? There's Carpenter's suddenly thrown in there, and
it's great how some of that stuff just juxtaposes, like the scene with Chloe and Johnny, and in the background, Black Sabbath is quietly playing along. I mean, that's just brilliant.
A lot there for people to enjoy. Jackie Earle Haley, thanks very much and all the best with Dark Shadows.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.